Hello and welcome back. Today we are looking at shape. We're continuing to look at shape and we are working towards mastery of our understanding of shape through some challenge questions. These questions relate to two learning concepts that we've already looked at, and those are recognise 3D shapes in different orientations and describe them, and draw 2D shapes and make 3D shapes using modelling materials. This second one we've not done because obviously I can't expect that you have modelling materials at home, but one of the earlier tasks did relate to that. So what you will need to know to successfully complete this lesson is you will need to know that an edge in 3D shapes is the line where two faces meet. You'll need to know that faces are the flat parts on a 3D shape. So a cube will have square faces and it will have 6 of them, and where those faces meet will create an edge. Vertices are your corners. 2D shapes can refer to the edges as sides and the vertices as corners. Parallel lines are lines that, as we discussed last time, are the same width apart the entire way along and will not meet. Right angles are those book edge corners that we spoke of, and regular and irregular shapes. So a regular shape is a shape where all the sides are equal in length, and irregular shape is where all the where that's not the case, so where some sides are different lengths. So here you see a square is a regular quadrilateral, this is a regular rectangle, square is a regular rectangle, and an oblong is an irregular rectangle because it has different length sides. Okay, so let's get to it then. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read through the questions for you. It's up to you to stop the video and answer the questions as they come up. Some of the questions will have a little computer on them, like that. That means that this is a question that I would like you to answer on a DB primary document. But questions without that, you can just answer on paper. You can either choose to photograph what you've done and upload that onto DB primary, or you can just leave it. I just want to show you how you would create a document to answer your questions. So here I'm logged in as test pupil. What you would need to do is you would go to My Work, New Document, and then you could give it a title. So you might say Shape Mastery Challenge Questions. 26th now, so we'll change that. 25th of June, and then you could answer the questions in there. Okay, when you've done all of the questions, you could just save that and move on. You can open this window now in your DB primary, and then you can just go back and enter the questions as we come to them in the video. So I'll pause to allow you to open that now. Resume the video when you're ready. Here's your first question. You will notice there's no computer here, so this is not one that you have to put onto the DB primary document, though if you want to draw it and then take a photograph of it and upload it to DB primary, you certainly can do. And your task here is to draw a shape with a pair of parallel lines. Now it specifies one pair of parallel lines, so it's up to you if the rest of the lines in the shape have a parallel partner or not, but there needs to be at least one pair of parallel lines in your shape. Then once you've done that, I'd like you to label the angles, and I'm just going to have a quick mention of the symbols on here. Grab my laser pointer. So this shows greater than 90 degrees, and this one is less than 90 degrees. Okay, so if your angle is greater than 90 degrees, so bigger than a right angle, you would use this one. If it is smaller than 90 degrees, so smaller than a right angle, you would use this symbol here. Well, I'm just going to move on now, so pause the video, resume when you've completed that task. What is the next shape in the sequence and why? So I've got a sequence of shapes here. I have done them in this order for a reason. There is logic to the way that they are ordered, so you need to work out why they're in this order and what the next shape would be. The next shape will not be one of these three shapes. It's not a repeating pattern, it's a sequence. This is a computer question, so when you have worked it out and you know what shape comes next, I'd like to visit the DB Primary document that you've created and type the next shape in the sequence is a, name the shape, because, and then tell me why you think that. Okay? Again, pause the video while you do that. When you're ready, resume it. Next question. You'll notice there's no computer here, so you don't have to write this on the computer. Use these shapes to make a repeating pattern. Can the people at home guess what comes next? So use these shapes to make a repeating pattern. Draw your pattern out and then go and show someone at home and ask them to guess what comes next in your pattern. Okay? It doesn't have to be this pattern. You can just use these shapes to make a pattern of your own. When you're ready to move on, resume the video. Okay, computer question, so this one will need typing up. True or false? Is it true or false that you can make a 3D shape from lots of identical squares? So if I cut out lots of identical squares, would I be able to make a 3D shape using them? And what you're going to type into DB Primary is, this is true, or it should say it is true, not this is true. Let me just change that for you while I think about it. It is true or false, depending on which one you think it is, that a 3D shape can be made from lots of squares because, and you need to give your reason. If you think it's true, tell me the name of the 3D shape that you can make using lots of identical squares. Again, pause the video while you do it, resume it when you're ready to move on. Explain why all triangles need to be the same size in the net of a pyramid. This is the net of a pyramid, and a net is something that you can cut out and fold together to make a 3D shape. So this you could cut out if you wanted to and fold together to make a 3D pyramid. It's a square-based pyramid. The question is, why do all the triangles in my pyramid, of which there are 4, need to be the same size? And you will type onto DB Primary, the triangles in a pyramid net need to be the same size because, and you need to justify your reason. What do you think would happen if they were different sizes? Why wouldn't your model work if that were the case? Again, pause the video while you type that up, resume it when you're ready. Another true or false. With an unlimited amount of straight sticks, you can make any 2D or 3D shape. So I'd like you to think about that. By straight sticks, that could be anything. That could be art straws, pencils, anything that's straight and stick-like. It could be sticks if you have enough straight sticks from your garden or a park. But if you had enough of them, could you make any 2D or 3D shape? So you're saying that there are no 2D or 3D shapes that you could not make if you had an unlimited amount of straight sticks. And I would suggest you think about all the 3D shapes that you know and all the 2D shapes that you know. Try and imagine making them with straight sticks. Would you be able to do it? And what you will type into the computer on DB Primary is, it is true or false, if you decided that's the case, that you can make any shape with straight sticks because, and then justify your reason. Okay. Next task, and this might be one that you want to do later on because it's going to take you a little bit of time, so you might want to do this after you've finished with the video. if there's a lot of people who need to use the computer. But I'd like you to look through a magazine or newspaper and identify the shapes that you see. If you're allowed to, and do ask whoever owns the magazine or newspaper first if you can, but if you're allowed to, cut out the shapes and organise them into different groups. And you might see that some shapes fit into more than one group, so if so, I want you to think about why that is. Groups that you might use, you could say, well, you could sort into 2D or 3D shapes, you could sort into shapes with parallel lines, shapes without parallel lines, that you could sort into shapes with right angles and shapes without. There's lots of different ways you could sort some shapes, so I leave it up to you which groups you use, but have a go at that when you have the time, if you have a magazine or newspaper in your house. And once again, please do ask the grown-ups at home, particularly the grown-ups or whoever owns the magazines and or newspapers, before you start cutting them up. Okay, very important. If you want to do that now, pause the video, resume it when you have finished. 3D shape hunt. This is another one that you do not need to record on the computer. So I'd like you to find some real life 3D shapes around your home and group them together according to their properties. So again, properties of 3D shapes, you might be thinking, which shapes have 6 faces, or which shapes have more than 6 faces, which shapes have an even number of vertices, or what have you. So when I say real life 3D shape, that might be, you might have a cardboard box that's a cuboid, you might have a tin of baked beans, which is a cylinder. There are 3D shapes all over your house. Just go out on a mission, find them. Do check with grown-ups at home before you grab anything that doesn't belong to you, and also make sure that you put everything back where you got it from at the end. The odd one out. Look at these shapes. You have I'm going to say that's a triangular based pyramid there. You've got a cube, you've got a cuboid, and you have a cone. Which one is the odd one out? When you have decided which one is the odd one out, you would write it here. The whatever it was is the odd one out, because, very important, you have to give your reason. Don't simply tell me that you think one is the odd one out. Tell me why you think that, because there is no wrong answer in this question as long as you can give a good reason to explain what you think. So make sure you do give that reason. So let's go through and think about our composites just to finish. Words that we should be familiar with: edges, vertices, faces, sides, corners, parallel lines, right angles, regular and irregular shapes. And these composites will help you form the groups based on the properties of the shapes that you have been asked to form in some of the questions. So that brings us to the end of this session. Thank you very much. I hope you have a lovely weekend.